I think I'm siding with the people who think this is never going to happen. This is absolutely a domestic political move. It's, December 15th is well after the shipping season for Christmas is over. That was a signal, say, look, the month December is labeled in this delay, so no one can get upset about Christmas. 10% tariffs weren't going to matter very much anyway. But I think the longer term implication is if the president is hesitating on a 10% tariff and trying to protect Christmas to the extent of a symbolic move, where is the upside for him to go to 25%?
Right.
Of course, if there's a serious Chinese provocation, he will. But other than that, if you're hesitating at 10% this much, you really don't have the 25% threat in your bag anymore.
And Nicholas, I wonder what the U.S. got in return for this, if anything. I mean, it reads like, hey, we realized the impact of this, so we decided, that we weren't going to move forward with it. We are the ones who initiated the call with the Chinese and so forth. I mean, does it appear to you that the U.S. has the upper hand here or no?
Well, it'd be very hard to make the case. The U.S. is losing. Our global trade deficit is up. Our trade deficit with China is up. Manufacturing employment is down. Those are all things that Trump said he was going to change and that the trade war would be beautiful. And I agree with Derek, the 25% threat on the last $300 billion. Remember, he made first last May. Then he took it off the table. Then he put it back on for September 1st. Now he's taken most of it away. He realizes that if he goes ahead with this last $300 billion of mostly consumer goods and price-sensitive products, that he's going to lose politically domestically. It's not going to help him get reelected. So I agree with Derek. This is a domestic political move.
So, Sameer, hearing all of this, was the market wrong to sell off as much as it did on the announcement of these new tariffs and on their imminent, imposition and on the economic fallout from all of that? Or did we have to wait and see what the president was going to do? Is it now that they're realizing it's not going to be that bad? And if so, frankly, is 400 points all that we're going to get out of that? Or does that suggest that there should be a much larger relief rally?
Yeah, so Kelly, we would say that, probably the initial decline was probably an overreaction. But this, rally today probably is an overreaction as well. And, December 15th, not to read too much into the date, but I mean, especially now in the world we live in, you can order something probably the day before Christmas. And a lot of people are last minute shoppers. So I'm not sure it necessarily lessens the pain for Christmas shoppers, given how much shopping takes place in those 2 weeks. So again, what we would say is the U.S. probably is realizing the limits of what it can do without bringing pain onto consumers on the U.S. side. And that's probably a good sign because, again, it probably means we're closer to a resolution. We don't see one in 2019, but it does mean that, we're probably starting to see at least the limits of the call it the ramp up, if you will.
Right, right. And Derek, just to circle back on that, we're up 1.6% on the major averages today, but I could see that being worth 10% upside if that coast really is clear and if they might turn to other tools. I don't know if Huawei is one area that might be looked at, but if we're trying to get tough on China, are there other methods? Because everybody keeps saying this president loves tariffs. That's the tool he's going to use.
Right. I mean, this is a battle between the president's instinct, which is tariffs for everything, tariffs on European cars, tariffs on Mexico for border issues, and running up into these limits of, okay, you've applied a lot of tariffs, and now it's going to get harder. We do have other tools to use against China. That's my preference, in fact. And that's one reason why I think you don't see a huge rally on the market. We're getting past the shock of, more tariffs in September, October, and people are digesting, well, that we haven't gotten anywhere on IP. And there are other American tools that can provoke the Chinese and have them retaliate against firms listed on the NASDAQ, for example.
Right. Do you think it'd be likely we go that route?
Well, I don't think it's likely we go that route for the rest of this year because I think the president is going to want clarity on who his Democratic opponent is. I don't want to turn this into too much domestic politics, even though I think that's what's driving the change today. But Vice President Biden and Senator Warren are very different on China, and that's a very different strategy for the president in 2020.
Can you elaborate on that for one more moment?